welcome to yoga stretches for runners. This is a series of stretches to do at the end of your run. So it's not for before you begin, it's when your body is warm, your muscles are warm, your heart is perhaps still pounding a little bit, and when you get back in and you need to stretch. If your muscles aren't going to completely tighten up and stay locked together, you want your muscle fibers to have some practice at lengthening as well, so that you've got that springiness and that power ready for you the next time you go out. So I'm going to start with a forward bend. I've still got my trainers on, so we're not going to require yoga mats or anything like that. This is stuff to do in your hall, on your front doorstep, whatever, when you get back. First thing, we're going to do a little forward bend. We're going to have something to rest the hands on. Could be chair, banister rail, sofa, anything, fence, gate, something like that. Reach forward, catch hold of it, and then bend the knees and draw back with the hips. So you're letting the back have some length. And the idea is that from this area here, you're drawing back, and that brings a lovely length through the whole of the back. You'll feel it around the shoulders. The neck's just letting go, the head's dangling down, the knees are a little bit bent, and the length is coming down from the lowest part of the belly, drawing back and away from the hands. And then once we're here, we breathe. We feel the space coming into the shoulders, coming in between all the little gaps between the ribs and in the waist and in the sides as we breathe in. And then as we breathe out, we release into that space by drawing back a little bit more through the fold of the hips. A couple more breaths here. Okay, and then from here you're going to bend your knees sufficiently that your belly now rests on your thighs, and then when your upper body weight is completely supported by your legs, you let go with your arms. Let your head dangle down, arms dangle down, and you keep your feet rooted and then tilt up through the sit bones. So you begin to stretch out the hamstrings, but your belly's resting on your thighs, so your back is supported. Few breaths here. Again, be with the breath. Feel the space, filling all the little nooks and crannies in the body as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, be aware of your connection to the ground and release upwards into the sit bones. Okay, and then bend the knees some more, press powerfully into your feet and walk your hands up your bent legs to come up to standing. Okay, from here we're going to step back into a lunge. So you're going to step back with the right foot, keep your hips pointing forwards, your knees pointing forwards, your feet, your toes all pointing forwards, and sink into that back heel. If you like, you can do this with a bit of something to press into, wall, door frame, and you're really sinking into that back heel. So this is about a calf and Achilles stretch as much as anything else. Take your time, don't rush it. You need to give the stretch some time. Can't be rushed. Breathing, letting the ground support you. Okay, and then swapping over, either without the wall, sinking back into the heel, or with the wall. Either one. Weight is back through that straightened back leg, down into the back heel. Okay, and then we want to stretch the front of the legs as well, the quads and the hip flexor muscles. A couple of ways of doing this. The classic one you'll have probably seen quite a lot is to have the knees together, catch the foot behind you, draw the foot towards your buttocks, lengthening down the front there. That's one option. If you're able to be on the ground, if you're not in the middle of a muddy puddle or something, another one is to drop down here, hands inside the front foot, and then letting the weight of the pelvis drop forwards and down. There's a little bit more scope for stretching here, but it's all in your control. You can lower yourself as low as your body feels happy to go. So we're either here, doing this one, front foot is still flat on the floor, front knee is no further forwards than the ankle, and we're waiting, we're patiently waiting, giving some time to the stretch. That's the one where you use the ground. The alternative on your 2 feet is knees together, foot drawn up towards the buttock, a sense of lengthening down from the hip to the knee. A few breaths there. And then doing it on the other side, I'm going to use this as my support this time. Knees together, look, I'm not sort of out here, knees are together. Foot drawing up, doesn't have to come all the way up to your buttock, might just be to here, wherever it comes to, and then a sense of lengthening down, the knee going straight down. Either here for the standing version or down on the ground lunge version. Knee no further forward than the ankle, hands inside the front foot, dropping the weight of the pelvis forwards and down. That's the version you do if you've got something you can get down onto the ground easily with. Okay, and then we want to have a little side bend as well, muscles here in the sides of the body. So if you've got a bit of a wall or a door you can lean against, stand next to it, have your hand resting against it, then the other arm comes up, we take a breath in, breathing out, leaning over, let the fingertips find the wall, and I'm not twisting, I'm not coming forwards, it's very much straight up and then a little bit of over, and then the weight in the feet, notice the weight in the feet and let the weight be slightly more rooted in the outer foot, so the same arm and leg are the ones getting the stretch here, and the gap is opening up between the hips and the ribs, and you're breathing into that gap, feeling the space opening on the in-breath. On the out-breath, reconnect the outer foot to the ground and feel that little bit of lengthen bouncing back up through the side of the body, releasing into the space. And then the other way. So I'm going to turn my, actually I'm going to come over here to show you this one. Arm floats up, feet are together, breathing in, breathing out, leaning over to the wall. If I was here, leaning over to the wall, imagine there's a whole wall here. And the emphasis of the foot is this outer leg here, rooted into the ground, space opening up in the side of the body as I breathe in, rooted to the ground, releasing into that space as we breathe out. Okay, and then back to the centre. Let's take the arms out wide and take the arms a little bit behind you as well. A little bit out behind you, so you're opening out across the front of the chest. And then bring the arms in front, cross left elbow over the right into eagle arms, either the backs of the hands together Across the wrists and bring the palms together, lifting up through the fingers so there's a bit of a stretch between the two shoulder blades here in the upper back. And then spread the arms out wide again. Take them behind you a little bit. Breathing into the front of the body. And then bring the arms in front this time. Cross right elbow over left. Eagle arms, either the backs of the hands together or cross the wrists and bring the palms together. If this is not easy for you, another option is to draw the elbow across the front of the body. That's another option. Breathing into the back, feeling the space opening on the in-breath, re-emphasizing your connection to the ground on the out-breath. Okay, and then release. And then we're going to come down into another little forward bend. So I'm going to take a breath in. So breathe out, let the hands slide down the legs, bend the knees as you do till your belly comes to rest on the thighs, head and neck dangling down. This time we're going to interlink the hands behind the back and let the arms float up and away from the back. Feet are strong, sit bones lifting, tailbone lifting. And then release the arms. Keep your belly resting on your thighs. Bring your hands down onto the ground. And you're going to take one leg out behind you and have a little balance with the one leg stretching out behind you and your belly still coming down towards your thighs. The weight is more in this one standing leg with a little bit of support from the fingertips. There's a bit more of a stretch perhaps being felt up here in the back of the standing leg. And then from there, you're going to cross the other leg behind the standing leg, bending the knees sufficiently that your both feet come down. If I show you this from the back, I've crossed over like this. Okay. And then keeping the feet on the ground, the head dropping down, the belly dropping down, you're going to slightly lift up at the tailbone. So you get a different kind of a stretch here in the back of the hamstrings, head and neck dangling down. Bend the knees some more and swap the legs over. So the other leg comes out behind, belly's dropping down towards the thigh, fingers there for a little bit of extra support, foot is flat on the ground. And then this leg, the one that's in the air, crosses behind the other one. We bend the knees till both feet come down, and then we just tuck myself in. Oops. And then head and neck dangling down, lifting up with the sit bones, tilting the pelvis so the sit bones turn back, the tailbone starts to roll up, and you'll feel a different kind of stretch in the back of the legs. And then bend at the knees again. Come back into your forward bend, belly resting on the thighs, head and neck dangling down. Okay, from here, we're going to come down into a squat. So if you have a step or something you can put under your heels, you can do that. And you're going to come down, dropping your bottom down to sink down here. If you can't do that, you can either keep the heels flat on the floor, or you can let the heels lift and come down. Keep them flat on the floor if you can, but if not, let them lift. Letting go of the lower back. Okay, and then if you're able to come to the floor, if you're not in a muddy puddle, come down onto the ground. I'm going to show you this first, and then I'm going to show you one to do, an alternative to do when you're standing up. But if you're able to come onto the floor, lie yourself down, take your right leg into the air, give it a little wiggle, and then cross your right ankle over your left knee. Let that left knee flop away, and then lift the other foot off the floor and reach through to catch hold of the thigh or the shin. Lower leg sinking into the floor, lower back stays sinking into the floor. Totally letting go of this top leg, this right leg. So it's relaxing into the hip. We're not trying to go for maximum anything. We're allowing the muscle fibres, the connective tissue, time to soften and release into this shape, counteracting the effects of all the shortening and pounding there has been during our run. Okay, and then we bring left foot back to the floor. We're keeping this right knee edging out away from us. We're going to spread the arms out wide and then lower the legs over. So we come into a bit of a twist. This right foot comes either to the floor, or you can grab some cushions, blocks, whatever you've got handy to go underneath it. This top knee is floating out, right knee floating up towards the ceiling, and then letting go of the weight of the pelvis, letting go of the weight of the thigh bone as if it was dropping back into the hip socket. Few breaths there. And then back into the centre. Slide the legs closer together. One knee crosses the other knee. And then a little rock from side to side, giving your lower back a bit of a massage with the weight of the legs. Okay, and then uncross and try the other side. So left leg comes into the air, has a little wiggle, ankle crosses over the knee. Without the pelvis moving, the knee flops open to the side. You can stay here if this feels like a good stretch already, or lift off the floor, draw the thigh in towards the chest, letting go of this leg. And then the foot comes back to the floor. We keep that openness in this hip by edging the knee away and then roll the legs over to the side. The foot either comes to the floor, or you can have a little pile of blocks or cushions or some support there. Knee floating upwards, pelvis heavy, waist soft, and then feel the breath coming into the body. And as you breathe out, give yourself permission to relax, to let go of the tension just a little bit, wherever you're feeling it, breath by breath. And then come back into the centre, slide the legs closer together, little rock, side to side, across the lower back. This is where we sometimes find we need a little bit of extra attention. The runners put some strain perhaps on the sacroiliac joints, on the hips. Just give it a little bit of attention. And then uncross the legs and just have a moment just being here, being with your breath for a couple of moments. Letting go. Okay, so you can stay there as long as you like. If you haven't got much time, bring yourself back up. And there we go, 20 minutes of stretching for runners.